What up, YouTube? T-Moose here. Now, here is my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turned 10 and 20 this week. All right, the films that are turning 10. Holy cow, I'm sold right here. Turning 10, we got Real Steel. Now, this film is pretty much like a Rock'em Sock'em Robot-based movie, like inspired film, I should say, that starred Hugh Jackman, Anthony Mackie. It was directed by Sean Levy, who, of course, just had Free Guy out this year. Now, Real Steel stars Hugh Jackman, who plays Charlie Cannon, who used to be like this prize fighter, but lost his chance to win the title when this heavy towering robot pretty much took over the boxing ring, and so now he's working as like this small time promoter, and so he pretty much pieced together the scrappy metal into this low end fighter, and he reluctantly teamed up with his estranged son Max, played by Dakota Gaia to build and train this champion robot. And so, it's such a shame we haven't really got a sequel to this yet. I mean, I thought Real Steel was awesome. It was so fun, cool action. Now, not so long ago, Sean Levy was, of course, being interviewed about his movie Free Guy that just got released. And he actually did mention that he is actually thinking about possibly doing a sequel. So, I don't know when are we ever going to get one is beyond me, because the movie did pretty well when it got released. Let me pull up Real Steel box office. Yeah, they got 299.3 million. I mean, still pretty decent. So where the heck is the sequel has gone? Beyond me. But I know Hugh Jackman was awesome. You also had Evangeline Lilly was also great in this. I mean, if you guys have not really seen Real Steel, this movie is loads of fun. I don't know, watch this thing in theaters. I didn't even have too much high hopes for it because I admit the trailers was not all that great. So I did not have too much high hopes for it. But then I saw it, I'm like, one of the biggest surprises of that year. So, yeah, I mean, if you haven't really seen Real Steel, definitely give that one a go. All right, also turning 10, I'm going to say, we got George Clooney's directing film, The Ides of March. Sad to say, this is probably the best, like the last movie that George Clooney directed that I actually quite like. His recent directing films like that Midnight Sky, I thought was pretty boring, to be honest with you. He's done some other stuff like directing stuff that was not so good, like Monuments Man was a bust. That one he did, that Suburbicon with Matt Damon, that was a bust. So frankly, his last good directing movie, in my opinion, was The Ides of March. Now, this is actually like a political-based film that's also based on a book. And it stars George Clooney, who plays the Ohio's Democratic Party governor, Mike Morris, who seems to like shoe in this nomination over his opponent named Sam Pullman, played by Mike Mattelli Morris. And so you got pretty much this Morris's idealistic press secretary Stephen Myers, played by Ryan Gosling, who believes that his candidate is integrity, and the Democratic Party is also in process. And so, yeah, I mean, there's also like a relationship with him and this young intern played by Evan Rachel Wood. I mean, this movie had a really good cast too. I'll like say you had George Clooney, you had Ryan Gosling was also in this. The late Phil Seymour Hoffman appeared in this film. You also had Marissa Tomei, Paul Giamatti, Jeffrey Wright, Jennifer Eel, Max McGilla, the aforementioned Evan Rachel Wood. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's a really solid cast. Probably one of the best political thrillers in recent years. I mean, of course, George Clooney had a really cool 2011, by the way. Between The Ides of March and The Descendants, he did like a year, like a month prior to this film. But The Ides of March is really good. If you guys have not really seen it, go watch it. Definitely a really decent political film. All right. Now, other films that turn 10 is more small affairs. A couple of the films that also turns 10 is this movie called The Way, which stars Martin Sheen and is directed by his real-life son, Emilio Estevez. And here you got Martin Sheen, who plays this American father who travels to France to claim the body of his estranged son who was killed on the trek to Pyrenees. This movie, I don't like, probably one of Martin Sheen's best performances in years. I even think he should have gotten an Oscar nomination for this, because it's pretty much Martin Sheen just walking heading down to France, walking around to claim his son's body and all. And it's really, there's also some flashbacks between Martin Sheen and Emilio Estevez. I mean, Emilio Estevez, by the way, has got to be one of the most underrated directors there is. I mean, this guy gave us movies like Bobby. He gave us he's even directed episodes of the new My Duck series. His last movie, The Public, was pretty good. I mean, I always quite like Emilio Estevez. I mean, he is, of course, was always part of the Brat Pack, whether it was St. Elmo's Fire, Breakfast Club. I mean, yeah, who did not love Emilio Estevez? Now, and mostly his scenes in this are mostly flashbacks. But yeah, I mean, I remember, like, I literally also saw the Way-In Days when it got released, and I was blown away by how good this movie was. But anyway, other films turning 10, we got this little film called Dirty Girl, which was, of course, released by the Weinstein Company back in the day. Um, Now, this, of course, starred Junior Temple, who pretty much plays this girl, who this like teenager who sets out to find her a long absent father, and she ends up teaming up with this fellow classmate played by Jeremy Dozer. Now, Dirty Girl had a really I thought this movie had a really cool cast too. Like the cast, besides Junior Temple, who of course is always like I love Junior Temple. Like she could do no wrong. But some of the cast members in this include the likes of Tim McGraw, William H. Macy, Mary Steenburgen, Mila Jovovich, Dwight Yoakam was also in this, Nate Hartley. I mean, you guys are really decent supporting players. This is definitely probably one of those underrated, underappreciated comedies in recent years. I mean, Jim Temple pretty much plays a time role, which yes, she literally plays the dirty girl on this. She does have lots of risque Wendas. She chose out here. The one who plays her traveling companion, I know he was really good. Jamie hasn't done hardly anything like any other big sets. Like I thought he could have easily been a big star, but I know he was pretty decent. I mean, if you guys have not really seen Dirty Girl, it's a really decent little film. All right, also turning 10 for all you, for anybody who remembers the Human Centipede. Yeah, Human Centipede 2 turns 10 this week. Human Centipede is one of the most sickest movies you'll ever want to see. Holy cow. I remember when the Human Centipede got released. I literally remember watching this movie. I did not watch this because it was playing around me, but I actually saw it on TV one time. I think it was on the Chillin' Network when I first saw it. I was like, this is the most sickest thing I've ever seen. I mean, this guy just sews these three people from, ass to anus. To make him as a centipede. That's one of the most sickest, gruesome, grossest things you'll ever want to see. But, the first Human Centipede I didn't mind. But they decided to go ahead and do two sequels. The second one I know was a little okay. Third one sucked, though. Now, this movie is, of course, directed by Tom Selleck, which great name, by the way, because these movies are pretty sickening. It's about pretty much this depraved mama boy named Lawrence Harvey who goes on a killing and collecting spree to recreate the experiment portrayed in the Human Centipede first film. So pretty much you got a bit of a copycat person here. This movie is it's really gross, but I always do love these type of films. I always love these type of gross out movies, and I'm actually going to talk about the Human Centipede this week, by the way. So keep your eye out for those. Anyway, now films turning 20 this week. We got the Antoine Fuqua directed film Training Day. Now, of course, Training Day pretty much starts the likes of Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke. And it's pretty much like this police drama about this veteran officer who escorts this rookie on his first day with the LAPD's inner city narcotics unit. And this movie is really intriguing. Of course, Denzel actually won his Oscar for this. Ethan Hawke scored his an Oscar nomination. Directed by Antoine Fuqua, who of course just has the new movie Guilty that's on Netflix, which is pretty good, by the way. But anyway, this movie is definitely really fun. Probably one of my favorite Denzel films, in my opinion. It's really cool, great action, great performances by Denzel and Ethan Hawke. Those should really play off each other well. Of course, they did do a TV show, which the TV show was not all that great. I mean, it did star the late Bill Paxton, sadly, one of his final roles. But to be honest, the TV show was not all that great, to be honest. But nothing just beats the film version now. Anyway, also turning 20, we got probably one of my favorite family comedies in years, and that is Max Keeble's Big Move. Who remembers this film? I mean, I've of course talked about did like a review for it during Back to School Month. And Max Keeble's Big Move, of course, starred the likes of Alex D. Lynch, who you might remember from Home Alone 3. You also had, you even had the likes of Josh Peck, Zena Grey. Uh, you even had Noel Fisher, who you might know as Mickey Milkovich on Shameless. So before Mickey Milkovich went ahead and became a bad kid, like wild out kid in Shameless. Before he became Mickey Milkovich, he became a bully in Max Keeble. So yeah. Anyway, now if you guys don't really know much about the story of this, now this film is actually directed by former Alvin and Chipmunks director Tim Hill. And in it, you've got Alex D. Lynch, who pretty much plays this bullied seventh grader named Max Kiba, who is of course being bullied by both Noah Fisher and former That's a Raven star Orlando Jones. And so he's of course being bullied by those two. And instead, rather than put up with the normal routine of school, he also pretty much finds out that he's actually about to move to New City in a week. So he ends up pretty much getting revenge on the people who have picked on him, including his douchebag of a principal played by Larry Miller. I mean, this movie is so fun. I mean, I remember watching this thing tons of times back in the days. It is entertaining, really fun to watch. So, yeah, if you guys have not really seen Max Keeble's Big Move, go watch it. It's a really fun one. You even had Jamie Kennedy as Ice Cream Man, by the way. So, it's just they never did a sequel. Like, it'll be cool. Maybe Disney Plus goes ahead and do like a some sort of sequel. But obviously, you're not going to get Josh Peck or the other Richard cast members in that. But still, all right. Now, also turning 20, we got Joyride, which stars which of course starred the likes of the late Paul Walker as well as Steve Zahn. Now, here you got Paul Walker, who plays this college freshman who decides to embark on this cross-country road trip to pick up the girl of his dreams named Vanna, played by Lily Sobieski. But, of course, Lewis's romantic also hopes into like detour when he stops on the way to rescue his older brother, Fuller, played by Steve Zahn. And so, along the way, there's a trucker with an unseen and terrifying force known only by the CB handle. And so the character of Rusty pretty much ends up taking, terrorizing the two leads. So this is pretty much like, it's a pretty fun film. Paul Walker, probably one of my favorite non-Fast and Furious Paul Walker films, in my opinion. Like, this is definitely my favorite Paul Walker film that does not have Fast and Furious in the title. Steve Zahn is always so good. I mean, this movie is really, like, this movie will leave you on the edge of your seats. It's entertaining. It's really fun. So, yeah, if you guys have never really seen Joyride, do yourself a favor and go watch Joyride. That movie is a really fun film worth checking out. All right, also turning 20, we got Serendipity, which is like a romantic comedy that stars John Cusack, Kate Beckinsale. And it's pretty much like we're on this magical night when they are in their 20s. Jonathan, played by John Cusack, meets Sarah, played by Kate Beckinsale. And he finds it love, at first sight. But, of course, Sarah also believes in destiny. It's like pretty much 10 years the two with 3,000 miles between them must also decide if fate really wants them together again, and when it also feels like magic is also called destiny here. I was not really too big with this. I mean, there were some people like this movie actually does have the fans, but I was never like a huge fan of this. I mean, I love John Cusack, but sometimes he usually always had like some questionable film roles, and to be honest, this is maybe one of the films of his I was not a fan of. I love Kate Beckinsale, but yeah, I wasn't too keen on this. Now, this also had some other interesting cast members as well. Besides John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale, you also had Eugene Levy, Bridget Monahan, Molly Shannon, Jeremy Piven, John Corbett was in this. You even had some other really intriguing cast members, directed by Pierre Chelson. But sad to say, I was not really too big on this. It wasn't all that funny. The chemistry between Cusack and Beckinsale was okay, I guess. But yeah, I mean, this definitely is one of the few films of Cusack and Beck Still I was not a fan of, but it does have its fans. I mean, uh, let me go to its Rotten Tomatoes. I believe it has a pretty good score on Rotten Tomatoes. Let me go check. Uh, Serendipity Rotten Tomatoes score. It has a 59%, so it does have its fans, but I'm not one of them. Anyway, let me let you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? The 10-year one, I'm probably actually going to go with The Ides of March. The Ides of March is probably my favorite film out of that, the 10-year one. I mean, I like Real Steel, but The Ides of March had some better performances. I mean, Hugh Jackman, Ryan Gosling. So, yeah. And as for the 20-year one, I 100% will go with Max Keeble's Big Move because that movie is really fun. But I'm actually going to go with Train Day because that is obviously the better movie in that list. So, yeah, but anyway, let me lead you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? Which was like your favorite? Which was not your favorite? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This is CB Movies signing out.